Welcome back to lesson 1.5a, inverses of functions graphically. So just a quick reminder that a function is a rule that takes inputs and produces outputs. So when we talk about an inverse function, it does the opposite, undoing what our original function does. So we could think of it this way. We have our original function f of x, and then something happens to it to create f to the negative 1 power x, which is our inverse function. So here I'm just showing you the notations that we would use to denote between our original function f of x and its inverse f negative 1 of x. Let's go ahead and get started with our examples. And remember, it does the opposite. An inverse does the opposite. So here is our first example. Write the inverse of the given function. And then I'm asking you to provide the domain and range for both. When you are asked to do this, when you are asked to write the inverse, you are going to simply do the opposite. And because our function is a set of ordered pairs, all this means is you are going to switch x and y. That's how you're going to make it the opposite. You're going to take what is x and make it become y, and what was y and make it become x for the inverse. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to come to your function, your ordered pairs, and you're going to say x, 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 x. All the first numbers are x's. It's never x, 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 right? All the first numbers are my x's, and then my second ones are y's. Note it. Now, if you wanted to, you could go in and say x1, x2, x3, x4, and then come back y1, y2, y3, y4. It's not necessary. For the inverse, we just need to know which one is the x and which one is the y. That's it. Now I'm going to answer the question. So I'm going to use my function inverse notation of x equals, and I'm going to create my new inverse function. I'm going to do the squiggle as best I can, or I'm going to find it on the computer. And then I'm going to say, well, this first ordered pair just becomes 1, negative 5. That's it. You just switch them. The next ordered pair becomes 2, negative 4. Just switch them. This is so easy. I'm done. Squiggle it off. That's it. Okay, switch them. That's it. You even keep the same order. Notice I kept the same order. They all kind of match. Just moved it over. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at the function, the way it was. What was my domain? Well, if I go back to look to one of the first lessons that we did, domain are the x's. So I'm going to look at the x's, and I'm going to put them in order from the smallest x that I see up here to the biggest. Remember, when a number is negative, the bigger the actual number is, like 5, the farther away it is from 0, making it smaller. So it's already in order from smallest to largest. Okay? And our range, if we went back to that first lesson, are our y values. The same thing, I want them in order from smallest to largest, and I don't have to show that there are repeats because I'm already seeing a repeated y. 1, 2, 1, don't have to put it again, 0. This is the one I want to start with, 0. Then the 1, I only need one of them, 2. And I'm done with the range. Okay? Now the inverse of the function is going to be easier because my domain and range have switched. So my domain now becomes what my range was. I don't even have to go back. Oops, let me put the comma in there. I don't even have to go back and label because they switched, right? I'm remembering they switched, so the domain is going to switch with the range as well, right? Because now this is x and this is y. Yeah? So my range, I already know my range. It was what my domain was over here, so I can copy it. How fast was that? This lesson seems like it's gonna be a breeze. But you know I'm gonna make it harder. You know I'm gonna step it up a notch. So we started with a set of ordered pairs. Let's move on to a table. Okay, same question. Find the table of inverse functions for the functions below. So here is my table. X is already labeled, Y is already labeled. Let's do our inverse over here. Guys, it's a table. It's even easier. It's still X, it's still Y, right? My table doesn't change. But what's going to change are the numbers. The 15, the 18, and the 21 are going to switch sides. They're going to move from the Y over to the X. They're going to move from here over to here. And the 5, 6, and 7 are going to switch and move over to the Y column. That's it. Man, this is even easy too, miss. Let's do it again. My table stays XY. I'm not going to flip it, right? I'm not flipping it. My X values are going to be -6, 0, 6 because it's switching, right? My X now in my inverse becomes my Y, what my Y was. And my Y's are going to be what my X's were, +3. There we go. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Okay, how could you possibly make this any harder, miss? Let's graph. Let's graph, okay? Now, we haven't graphed for a while, I know, because in geometry, which is what most of you took last year, we don't graph. We keep everything just kind of out floating around in space. So we're going to start by graphing this, and we're just going to kind of go over our rules to graph. Now, I don't have a graphing calculator on me. If you happen to have one on your computer, great. Go ahead, you can just type it in. But remember, you could also graph by hand. Remember that this is my slope, 2/3, because it's in y equals mx plus b, where this is my y, this is my m, this is my b. And my b here is my -2. Remember, my b is where I begin. My b is where I begin my graph, so I go down to -2 on the y value, y-intercept, that's where I begin my graph. And then I'm going to use my slope to help me count. I'm going to go down 2, 3 to the right, right? Down 2, 3 to the right. Down 2, 3 to the right, put a point. Down 2, 3 to the right, put a point. And I could keep going until I ran out of space. I'll go one more time. 2, 1, 2, 3. Okay? Now, I want to find some more points because I want to see the relationship between the graph, and I want to make this the best one I can. So I'm going to come back here and I'm going to do the opposite of what I put. So I'm going to go up 1, 2, and I'm going to go 3 to the left. 1, 2, 3. Up 2, 1, 2, 3 to the left. I'm just doing the opposite. Up 2, 1, 2, 3 to the left. I kind of find it therapeutic to graph this way. I like it. I know I'm weird. There we go. So there's my f of x, and I'm just going to put over here f of x. All right. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make a table because that other stuff was really easy. When I saw a table of x and y, that was super duper easy to create my inverse. So here is my f of x table. I'll put the f of x up here. And I'm just going to do my ordered pairs that I see. I'm just going to do my ordered pairs that I see. Like, I'm going to start right here. I have -6, +2. And then I have -3, 0. Right there. And then I have 0, negative 2, my y-intercept. Then below it, I have 3, comma, negative 4. And let's do this one last one right here, positive 6, negative 6. Okay, so now if I'm going to come in and make my inverse function, right? I'm going to come in and make my inverse function. I'm going to start by making my table. And I'm going to take my points and I'm going to flip them. 2, comma, negative 6. 0, comma, negative 3. Negative 2, comma, 0. Negative 4, comma, positive 3. And negative 6, comma, positive 6. So now I have 6 points, which is a lot of points, a lot of good points for me to plot to make my graph. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Positive 2, 1, 2, negative 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 0, negative 3. 1, 2, 3. Negative 2, 1, 2, 0. They're pretty close. Negative 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, positive 3. 1, 2, 3. And negative 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, positive 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There it is. And I'm going to grab my ruler here. There is my f negative 1 of x. There's my inverse function. And I just used my graphing skills, my skills for finding ordered pairs, and then I switched and I graphed and I connected them together. Okay, all I was asking was to graph. I was not asking for you to write that equation. We can talk about that later. Okay, the last thing that I want to do is talking about how to evaluate inverse functions. So the last thing I want to talk about is how to evaluate inverse functions. So here is my equation, 1/2 x plus 2. I'm going to go ahead and graph that, and then I'm going to show you how I can use that to help me find my inverse functions, okay? So remember, my slope is 1/2, so I'm going to go up 1, 2 to the right, or opposite, I'm going to go down 1, 2 to the left. My y-intercept is 2, and that's where I'm going to start. Okay, so my y-intercept is 2, 1, 2. I'm going to go up 1, 2 to the right. Up 1, 2 to the right. Up 1, 2 to the right. 2 to the right. And I could keep going. And I'm going to come back to the center, down 1, 2 to the left. 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 Okay, there's my graph. Just utilizing those Algebra 1 graphing skills. Like I said, if you have a graphing calculator, you're more than welcome to put this in. It's probably will be easier for you. Put it in the graphing calculator and go ahead and look at the table. All right, because what I'm going to have to do is figure out what all these ordered pairs are. So I'm going to start here in the middle. This is 0, 2. And this next one is 2, 3 above it. And then this one is 4, 4. And this one is 6, 5. And then I'm just going to leave the last one off. I may or may not need it. Down here, I've got negative 2, 1. Then I've got negative 4, 0. Then I've got negative 6, negative 1. And that should be good. That should be good. Okay, so notice over here, I have some f ofs and a number. There was a warm-up that had you do f of 3. And so remember, when this is f, not f negative 1, when it's just f, this is your x value. Okay, so remember when this is f of 3, you go to 3 on your graph right here, 1, 2, 3, and you read up and you want to tell me what that ordered pair is, -2.5. Okay, but this is f of -1. So this is not x, this is y in the original f of x graph. So I'm going to save you some time. You don't have to actually graph it again. Okay, we're not graphing again. What we're doing is these are the y values because it changed to f of x. They're no longer the x, they're the y now. So I'm going to look at my ordered pairs. Where is the second number 3? There it is. My answer is the number that's with it, 2. That's how easy it was. Okay, let's try again. My y is 0. The second number is 0. There it is. My answer is -4. And the last one, my y is 4. My y is 4. There it is. My x is also 4. See you guys next time.